It is Tuesday, July 7. Welcome to CGN News. Following his announcement of the closure of Devon House effective Monday, Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie says that only the Reggae Mill, the business tenant at the center of the violation of COVID-19 protocols, will remain closed. McKenzie, in announcing the closure, said he had indicated that he would meet with the management. That was done, and the decision taken that the remaining 25 shops which operate out of Devon House should not be penalized for the offense committed at the Reggae Mill venue. The Reggae Mill will now be closed for 2 weeks for breaches of the Disaster Risk Management Order. Additionally, no place of amusement license will be granted for 4 to 6 weeks. McKenzie says that the operations of Devon House will be closely monitored to ensure that the management takes all necessary steps to prevent further breaches of the protocols. The Trinidad and Tobago government says it has no plans to reopen the borders ahead of the August 10 general election. Opposition parties have been calling for Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to indicate whether the borders would remain closed. But speaking at the weekly Ministry of Health News Conference, Health Minister Terence Daren Sammy and National Security Minister Stuart Young said the closure of the borders had nothing to do with the pending election. Daren Sammy told reporters that until the world gets a handle on the spread of the coronavirus, it is not prudent for Trinidad and Tobago to reopen the borders. There are 543,000 deaths and 11.4 million people infected with the virus worldwide since the first case was detected in China last December. The National Security Minister says the government is not trying to disenfranchise anyone overseas who wanted to return to the country to vote in the election. So far this year, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, Guyana and Suriname have held elections during the COVID-19 pandemic, with none of them reopening their borders to allow in nationals wanting to participate in the process. A special task force has been formed to tackle gangs in Jamaica. The Special Force, an amalgamation of specialized operations of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, and the Combat Support Battalion of the Jamaica Defense Force, the JDF, will combat criminal gangs and organizations. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson, in an interview with the Gleaner, said the aim is to deploy level 2 to 4 tactical policing assets to support the crime reduction effort of the JCF by targeting individuals and gangs that commit murders, shootings, robberies, and other violent crimes. The Elite Task Force is expected to be a high-quality operational response formation utilizing superior intelligence gathering, investigation, and tactical skills to solve public safety problems. U.S. prosecutors have charged 2 sons of former Panamanian President Ricardo Martinelli in connection with bribery and money laundering linked to Brazilian construction firm Odebrecht, according to a federal complaint unsealed on Monday. Luis Enrique Martinelli, 38, and Ricardo Alberto Martinelli, 40, were arrested earlier in Guatemala City as they attempted to board a flight to Panama, Guatemala's police said in a statement. The 2 men face extradition to the United States. Odebrecht has been at the center of a far-reaching Latin American corruption scandal uncovered in 2014, in which the company paid more than $700 million in bribes to government officials in various countries. The 2014 scandal continues to reverberate across South America and has entangled several public officials, triggering impeachment, arrests, and resignations. Odebrecht has admitted it paid $788 million in bribes to win construction contracts in 12 countries, agreeing to pay a world record $3.5 billion fine. The Department of Justice said in a statement that the Martinelli sons are accused of having been intermediaries for the payment of about $28 million in bribes from Odebrecht to a high-ranking Panama official between 2009 and 2014, the period in which their father was in office. St. Lucian and West Indian cricketer Daren Sammy opened up about his experience on racism while playing in India. He said he used to be called Kalu by some of his Sunrisers Hyderabad teammates in the IPL. The term Kalu is a derogatory racist slur in India. However, Sammy said back in 2013 and 2014 when he was playing, he had no idea what the term meant. In an Instagram video, he explained that he had gotten to the point where he accepted it as his name. He said he thought it meant strong stallion and had no problems with it as he was ignorant to its meaning. He did notice, though, that every time they called him that, there was laughter and he thought his teammates were a happy bunch. The cricketer said he only recently learnt of the true meaning while watching a show on Netflix. He said it made him angry. Overseas now. The United States said on Monday it would not allow foreign students to remain in the country if all their classes are moved online in the fall over the coronavirus crisis. The new rules for exchange students were issued by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the ICE branch of the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of State will not issue visas to students enrolled in schools and/or programs that are fully online for the fall semester, nor will U.S. Customs and Border Protection permit these students to enter the United States, according to the ICE. Students already in the U.S. whose programs have switched to online-only instruction must depart the country or take other measures, such as transferring to a school with in-person instruction to remain in lawful status. The rules continued. A 2020 ICE report showed that there were 1.5 million active non-immigrant student visas under the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, the SEVP, in 2018. Spain's National Administrative Tribunal has agreed to extradite Emilia Lozoya, former chief executive of oil company Petróleos Mexicanos, the PEMX, or Pemex, to Mexico. Lozoya, 45, is wanted in Mexico on charges including bribery and money laundering in cases involving Brazilian construction firm Odebrecht, as well as a Mexican fertilizer firm. He denies any wrongdoing. Odebrecht, the largest construction firm in Latin America, has admitted to paying hundreds of millions of dollars in bribes to win contracts in 12 countries, including Mexico. The scandal has brought down ex-presidents and top officials in countries including Brazil, Peru, and Colombia, but there have been no arrests or prosecutions so far in Mexico. Lozoya, who ran Pemex between 2012 and 2016 and was once a close confidant of former President Enrique Peña Nieto, allegedly took more than $10 million in bribes from Odebrecht starting in March 2012. Tik Tok says it will quit Hong Kong within days after China imposed a new security law on the city. Quote, in light of recent events, we've decided to stop operations of the Tik Tok app in Hong Kong, end quote, a spokesman told the BBC. Facebook and Twitter said this week they were pausing cooperation with Hong Kong police over user information. The short-form video app was launched by China-based ByteDance for users outside mainland China as part of a strategy to grow its global audience. The tech company operates a similar short video sharing app in China called Douyin. TikTok, now run by former Walt Disney executive Kevin Mayer, has said, in the past, the app's user data is not stored in China. The country has also said previously that it would not comply with any Chinese government requests to censor content or give access to users' data, nor has it ever been asked to do so. However, the controversial national security law in Hong Kong has given Chinese authorities sweeping new powers, raising concerns about data privacy. The legislation punishes what China describes broadly as secession, subversion, terrorism, and collusion with foreign forces, with up to life in prison. A woman has sewn more than 100 protective masks that enable lip reading to help deaf people feel safe and included. Claire Cross, 45, and from Devon, England, said the masks, which feature a clear panel over the mouth, were vital for those with hearing issues. The National Deaf Children's Society, the NDCS, has called for the masks to be made widely available. The government said its policies aim to be, quote, as inclusive as possible, end quote. The use of face masks is mandatory on public transport, in hospitals, and in some enclosed areas to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. But the NDCS has warned standard coverings, quote, could put up the deaf at an even higher risk of isolation and loneliness than they already are, end quote. Ms. Cross, a furloughed pub worker from Cranbrook, Exeter, who has been shielding because she has rheumatoid arthritis, has also been donating plain masks as she wants coverings to become a natural thing. The government said there were exemptions in place for those who could not adhere to the mandatory use of a mask. In a statement, it said it regularly engaged with disabled people's charities, so its policies were, quote, appropriately tailored to be as inclusive as possible, end quote. That's it for CGN News. I'm Scott Wilson. Thank you so much for viewing.